I'm Aaron Davis. Sorry, by the way, I just kind of jumped in there. I'm Aaron Davis. I'm the founder of Recless Tech. We hire tech people. I have a confession to make. Back in college, I used to be a telemarketer, and I did it for like one semester, and I was actually kind of good at it, which was terrifying. But nevertheless, it was really uncomfortable to just feel like I was always imposing on somebody. And I told myself when I was done with it, I would never do anything like that again. And then fast forward a few years, and I got acquainted with the recruiting industry. So in recruiting, we think right now that because we're kind of approaching a recession and there's a lot of unemployment, the pains and the expense toward the headhunting industry would be minimal right now. But the reality is there's still way more jobs for tech people than there are tech people to do them, right? And that applies to a few other verticals. There's two different kind of employment economies. And when it comes to these high in demand fields, like information technology, there's, every company out there is paying big dollars to try to appeal to the best talent out there. So I got into that business back in 2006, and I was kind of surprised and a little bit disappointed to learn how much of my success was dependent upon just like cranking out the phone calls every day, right? When I started, the requirement was make 40 phone calls every day. So I'm calling, technology guys. I didn't know anything about technology. Saying, hey, this job looks like a great fit for you, et cetera, and just call after call after call all day, email after email. When I started, I was still using a flip phone. Social media wasn't as pervasive. We didn't have a lot of really smart automated tools. Now it's evolved a little bit. There's a lot more like, you can make thousands of calls a day if you're using the right systems and kind of like automating your process right. In fact, if you're really smart, you can build campaigns that they're just scheduled, and the onslaught impact of messaging to the tech community is a little bit exhausting. So much so that tech professionals who are being recruited are kind of getting exhausted. So there's new tech is being created then, like in response to like automation, the solicitation behavior, to do things like block your all unknown calls, just send them right to voicemail. And if you don't know how to do that, Google it. It's really great. Like all these telemarketer calls. Hey, you want to renew your vehicle's warranty? All this calls, send them right to voicemail, right? If you don't know who they are, just send them to voicemail. Well, tech people are doing the same thing with recruiters because they get called every single day. They get recruited every single day. Obviously, we've all used inbox filters to like send kind of like the spam, the newsletters, the hey, buy more stuff at Kohl's or whatever. I made the mistake of signing up for a card, and I get emails every day, right? In LinkedIn is a really popular, all social media are really popular platforms for soliciting in-demand talent, and they also have tools for cutting off the cold solicitations, right? So like, if you're tired of being solicited by salespeople and whoever else on LinkedIn, you can just turn that off. If I don't know them, don't put them in my inbox, right? So that the kind of the growing barriers that tech professionals and other in-demand talent are able to construct in order to avoid cold solicitations is really inhibiting the ability of the recruiting industry to get the attention of the talent that's so in demand. They're trying to kind of compete for, right? So the question is like, well, then how do people want to be contacted, right? If recruiters can't reach them, how do you reach them, right? And I've been asking, this is a very, Dr. Estevez, you'll like this research that I did here, very scientific. But I did a little survey on LinkedIn, just asking my contacts, how do you want to be contacted, or how do you want to hear about new jobs? And I've been asking this, if it's any consolation to the scientists in the audience, I've been asking this question for 10 years, and people are answering the exact same way all the time. Ask your own friends and ask yourself if you're a skeptic in the least. But the clear message is that people want to hear about new jobs through a friend. And to a lesser extent, they want to hear about new jobs through a principal recruiter at the employer's place of business. Not so much like outside recruiters and not so much searching job boards and postings. So, the question then is like, how do we scale that? How do we, if the public is saying, hey, I'm in demand, I got recruiters calling me all the time, I don't want to hear about jobs that way, I want to hear about jobs from a friend. How do we then capture the value that that talent presents to the employer and deliver to the candidate population the mechanism for recruitment that they're asking for? So the intuitive thought is, let's just ask people out there for referrals. And I tried that when I was a recruiter, and I got similar responses to this. Like, hey, that's not my job. I'm not going to call all my friends for you. You're the guy making this big commission. You're getting paid to do this, to hustle. Why don't you call everybody and leave me alone, right? So that's kind of like the general attitude in the kind of that in-demand population who's just tired of being cold called and solicited. And I was asked once, like, are you going to split your commission with me when when I refer somebody to you? Well, what we're doing at Reckless Tech is we're changing the answer to that question. Yes, we're going to share that commission, right? So essentially what we do is we've curated an exclusive membership of technical professionals through which we share job postings of our clients, and we ask them to refer their peers, usually colleagues that they've worked with. And when they're successful at referring somebody who's ultimately hired, we pay them that big fee, right? So at present, we're focused on Dayton. The fees that we charge translate to a viable referral payout of $4,000 to $8,000, which is pretty significant for somebody that we're just asking you to make send a text message to a friend, right? We'll see if this video works.
A connector will take a look at the job postings that exist on the Recless Tech site. If you think you know somebody who might be a good fit, just share that posting. If the person that you recommend gets hired, then the connector fee that's posted on the website comes directly to you.
So Jonathan Perkins there is a friend of mine, one of our connectors, and he's kind of given me good advice and direction on this business model. He and many others love the idea of no longer needing to respond to the onslaught of recruiter solicitations, and then also being able to participate in the lucrative economy of the tech staffing world. So our connectors essentially, if they dive into the details of a job posted on our board, they can use the sharing functions on our post, share the job with a friend, and if that friend is hired, we post right there what that connection fee, what that payout is going to be to them when we make a successful placement. The direct hire staffing business is usually paid out as a percentage of the new hire salary. So there's two kinds of staffing. There's temporary staffing, in which the staffing agency employs the person and they work as a temp employee. And then there's direct hire staffing, in which the employer will pay a fee to the recruiting agency and then hire that person directly. We're focused there for now because it makes more sense to have less variables at play while we're tinkering with the model and exactly how we're going to do it. The U.S. staffing industry spends about $150 billion a year. About 25 of that is on direct hire staffing, 25 billion. About $2.5 billion is direct hire staffing in IT. And in Dayton, Ohio, that translates to about a $6.5 million market in direct hire staffing in IT. So we're just focused on that for now. The sky's the limit. All of those markets we could leverage this mechanism for all of those markets, but we're just focused on this is our lab, right here is where we're kind of focused on tinkering with exactly how this delivery model will work. So where are we now? We've got a small connector network assembled, keeping it small on purpose because we're trying to run these experiments and see exactly what the engagement levels are going to be, how diverse that needs to be in terms of skill sets and region. We've got a handful of clients signed with a handful of active positions posted on our board. Strong buy-in from the tech community, technology first. We were honored to be recognized by them as the most promising startup in the tech community. But what we're really focused on is running experiments with how we engage our connector community, whether that's push notifications via mobile or what we're doing now, which is kind of email campaigns. Do we kind of keep all that content in email? Do we drive more of it into our website, et cetera, et cetera? and figure out exactly what the profile of our most active connector and our kind of super users is, and then target directly with that kind of messaging and so on. So it's a lot of marketing work and a lot of user experience work that we're focused on now. We want to make sure that we have the formula that works in terms of the size of the connector community, the diversity of the openings that we're working, before we kind of push into new territories and verticals. So about me, I worked in last several years as an executive at a software services firm. Before that, I was the talent acquisition director, large enterprise in the Dayton area. I began my career in tech and recruitment at the largest tech staffing company in the nation. And I've done a little bit of work in talent acquisition, software, sales, and consulting. So I've got the chops to be in this business, right? I've been doing it for about 15 years now. I've got consultants that are working with me as well. I'm not doing it completely by myself, but don't presently have any ownership partners or full-time employees. So how can you help? Our lab is on the street. We're figuring this out as we go. We're also delivering results and trying to learn from clients as we tinker with exactly how we get this work done. So our ask as an organization is to introduce us to leaders with hiring authority from local employers who will benefit, who really value hiring tech professionals. My preference is employers who want to experiment with us and try some different things, who are interested in innovating and need to figure out, as much as we do, new ways to execute a sound technical sourcing strategy. So organizations with that mentality are going to be great partners for us to kind of grow this business up in the Dayton market. We'll use those experiences and that revenue to tweak our connector engagement model as we prepare to scale to other markets, whether that be Cincy, Columbus geographic markets, or kind of like skilled vertical markets that are more nationally distributed. So if you've got the question of like why hire referrals, there's a few answers for you. But if you've got other questions, I'll be happy to answer those now.